Audio is rolling as well.
You want that in the shot?
I do not. So give me 1 second. There we go. Alright. Audio file STE006. Take one. Alright, Mr. Pierce, if you could just start off, state your name, your rank or your rate when you left the service, the branch you served in, and the years you served.
I was a RA in the U.S. Army in 1968. My MOS was a private fourth class when I got out.
Actually, let me ask you to start over. Didn't realize the door was still open. Sorry about that.
All right.
All right. So, name, rank, rate, branch you served, years you served.
My name is Charlie F. Pierce. I was U.S. Army, specialist fourth class. Served in Vietnam in 1968 through 1970. Spent 14 months. And knock on wood, I'm still here.
All right. Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was already drafted, but I went in 72 hours prior to my draft, so I'm RA instead of U.S.
Okay. What was going through your head when you got the draft letter?
Scared. I was 19 years old, well 18 when I went in the military, and I was 19 when I went over to Vietnam. So I was.
What was that, 1 year after high school?
Actually, I quit high school in 9th grade and went to New Jersey and worked up there and got homesick, and I came back home, and 2 weeks after I got home, past my 18th birthday, I got my draft notice. So then went to be examined and everything in Raleigh, North Carolina, and then came home and talked to a recruiter officer there, and he told me if I wanted what I wanted, I wanted to finish high school and I wanted to be a truck driver and be an artillery. I didn't want to be a infantry guy. So he put it in writing, and I got my GED in Fort Stewart, Georgia. I drove a deuce and a half pulling a 105 Howitzer. So.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Let's see. Got that one. So what were your first impressions when you, I guess, did you go, probably went over on a ship, so what were your
No, I flew over.
Flew? What were your first impressions walking off the gangway?
Scared to death because they bombed the runway when we were trying to land.
Wow. So
you get the first taste of it when you're just coming into country, and they were bombing the runway, trying to blow the plane up as it was coming in. Then we had to fly around for 2 or 3 hours, waiting for them to repatch the runway so we could land. And like I said, I was an 18-year-old kid, so on the other side of the world, so it's kind of scary. I mean, I was a kid, and they made a man out of me quick.
What did you think of the people you served with?
Oh, I thought a lot of the guys, but it was 7 of us guys on one gun, and you get to watch my back and I watch yours. I mean, you had to watch out for each other, and they were really nice guys, really nice. They were black guys, Indians, white guys. We were all brothers, so it didn't matter. The color's only skin deep. You cut my hand, cut yours, both gonna bleed red. So.
Were you aware of all the everything that was happening back stateside with the protests, both of the war and civil rights protests?
We'd hear it on the radio and stuff, but we were on one side of the pond, they were on the other, so you get disappointed because they're fighting here in the States, protesting and stuff against us, going over there to fight overseas versus overseas coming over here and fighting in my yard. I mean, as long as I'm over there fighting, I ain't got to worry about my family at home because I know they're protected, from all the killing and stuff. And over there, everybody lived in the ground. You lived in a hole.
Let's see. So, were you ever wounded while you were over there?
Yes, I was hit with strap metal twice, and got hit in the forehead right there, and then I got hit in the chest right here on this side, and little piece of metal about big as my thumb hit my rib and went around under my arm. And then they took me to Japan, Taiwan and Japan, and to the hospital and removed it. Sent me back to Nam because I didn't shoot my finger off. I still got two good hands. So.
What part of Vietnam were you guys operating in mostly?
Well, we were air mobile. We were the 2nd of the 77 Charlie Battery, field artillery, and we were the only air mobile battery in Vietnam. They just come in and strap us up, pick us up, fly us over, and set us down anywhere. So we went to Da Nang, Cu Chi, Horseshoe River on a floating rice paddy pad, Bien Hoa, I can't remember that other. There's 2 or 3 more other places, but we were what they call ducks on a pond on the Horseshoe River. We were the ducks. We were on a floating rice paddy pad. It's just a big old pad, and we set 3 guns up on it, and we were sitting out in the river. We ain't got nowhere to run, So we're the ducks, and the Vietnamese, they were the hunters. They hunting us on that floating rice paddy pad.
So I guess how often would you actually see the enemy up close shooting artillery?
Well, they've overrun us like twice. They got all inside the perimeter, and we called in air support. Where they come in and shot right on this nose first and start cleaning everything, killing everything that's on the ground. So over there, if you see 3 red tracers go up, that means you better get in the hole because they're fixing to clean house.
So you're saying you guys called air support on?
Oh yeah, we were overrun.
Basically?
Yeah, we were overrun. The Vietnamese was all inside the perimeter shooting, and that's when we called in air support. That's when the jets come in and fired 30 yards from us. We were inside of a bunker in a hole, and everything on top of the ground was leveled.
Was that the NVA then, or Viet?
Oh, that was the Vietnamese that was on. But kids trying to overrun us. They were trying to kill us, and that's when we leveled everything. We killed everything above ground, in our side perimeter. Where we were set up at.
Did you see a noticeable difference between the Viet Cong versus the NVA? They looked the same. They ain't no difference in what they looked like. He's a farmer during the daytime and a Vietnamese at night. We done most of our fighting at night. We never done it, during the daytime. We laid around, and drank beer and broke out ammunition and got ready for tonight. So that's what happens. You don't see him. You'll see him out in the field, out in the rice paddy. He's planting his rice and stuff, and during the daytime. Nighttime is a whole different story. What were your thoughts on or did you have any memorable interactions with the Vietnamese people?
Not really. They were Vietnamese who come up to the edge of the perimeter and trying to sell beer and cokes and stuff. And of course, GIs, they're going to buy beer. We're going to drink beer while I was over there. That was one of the main things. And you could get a beer over for $0.25. But that's about the only thing I done with them because I know what they were doing. They were trying to kill me.
Yes, sir.
And I was just a kid, so you learn to fight.
Patrick, you have any questions for him?
I think you've covered it all.
Plus, I got that little piece of cardboard over my picture on it was a write-up of me being during a fight, during a battle.
Yeah, can you
I stepped out into.
When you were first drafted off and you knew you were going in, did you know what you wanted to do prior to that? do you have any thoughts of this MOS would be nice, or?
Well, I mean, I just, when I went in, I wanted to be in artillery. I know that I was going because I was drafted. And I wanted to be in artillery or either be a truck driver. And I lucked out and I was a truck driver pulling the 105 Howitzer. So I was a truck driver and in artillery, you know, so it worked out pretty neat.
That's awesome.
And then, you know, like I said, you know, I was during a battle, I, you know, jumped out and got on the gun and started firing. You know, we returned fire. You can't stay in a hole because they'll come in the hole with you. So you got to get on your gun and start shooting it. You know, and they were trying to kill us. They were shooting low. And I was like, you know, they say I was brave, but I was scared. I mean, I'll admit it. If anybody who goes into war, if they ain't scared, they're crazy. I know. I've been there. I was there. And then I got Agent Orange. Where they sprayed Agent Orange all the way around us. You know, have open heart surgery at 55 years old. I've had back surgery from cyst from Agent Orange, because I got it all in writing from the doctors. And, you know, I have, you know, type 2 diabetes, and that comes from Agent Orange. Got both my eardrums blowed out from 105s, from the noise. You know, you don't have time to look for a set of earplugs. You don't have earplugs. I mean, that ain't even in the menu for earplugs. And 105 is one of the loudest out there, and you're right there under it, you know, shooting. Something's got to give, and the recoil and the muzzle velocity of the gun coming back. I mean, it'll suck your eardrums right out, and that's what happened to me. It blew my eardrums out.
Can you tell us about the circumstances that are
Well,
described on here?
we got, you know, like I was just saying, you know, we got in a battle, and they were shooting, they were throwing everything at us they had, you know, gas, mortars. I mean, small arms. They were hurting us, and like I said, I was trying to do my job. I got out of the hole and got on my gun. I started firing, and there was 7 of us got out there right quick and returned fire, and we won the battle.
Is that when you?
But that was one of the times I got hit in the forehead there. So from a mortar round, and from just trying to be brave and do my job, which, like I said, I wasn't brave. I was a kid, you know, fighting in a war, and luckily I survived.
Can you go through each of these and tell us about them? There you go.
Well, this is my insignia for my unit I was in, the 25th Infantry Division, Strawberry Lightning. And then this is my Spec 4 stripe here, my Purple Heart here where I got wounded. This is for being brave and valiant, you know, for getting on the gun. I got this with that. This is my Vietnam, and then the Army combination. And this is, you know, the field unit. But that's one right there I was proud of, the Purple Heart. I was fighting for my country. I'm full blood, red, white, and blue. And I'd go back over again tomorrow if I could, you know, if it was to protect this country. I'd go tomorrow.
Wow.
And I took this star here on the side of my hat for the guys that's still over there. That one guy, one star, represents for one POW MIA, missing in action. And I'm proud to wear it. I'm proud to be able to even tote this hat, saying that I served for my country.
Can you go way out front? We have, I think his name's Mr. Wadle. He should be arriving right about now.
I have another question. So, going overseas, you're obviously scared to death. You know, you got family at home. you don't know what's about to happen. What kept you going for 14 months?
Well, I got letters from my mom and got friends here in the States that would write to me, send me stuff, and I had a girlfriend back then, and I got letters from her all the time. I got a letter from her about every 2 days. I get a letter, but the only thing was we broke up when I got back, and I started dating my wife, and 6 months later I was back here in the States. I got married, and I've been married to my beautiful wife for 45 years now. Got 2 beautiful daughters, have a 23-year-old grandson and a 7-year-old granddaughter. And proud to be back here in the States. Red, white, and blue all the way.
What was it like? What was it like coming back after the conflict?
It was good to get here in the States. I was disappointed when I walked in a bar in Oakland, California, and they wouldn't sell me a beer because I wasn't old enough. I was 20 years old, and I fought for my country. Do it again today. I could go back over there tomorrow to fight for my country. But it was disappointing when they spit on me and throw beer balls at me and called me a baby killer. Well, them babies over there was killing as many of us as we were killing them. Them little kids are dangerous. Because when a Vietnamese, when they're born, they're in the military. They take them just like that, and teach them how to tote a rifle, how to blow up stuff. I mean, right off in the bat, that's just what happens over there.
Well, that's sad. So I guess the protests were still going on when you got home as well.
Oh yeah, they were still protesting, and they didn't. People here in the States, they talk about this and that. If you didn't go over there, you don't know what was going on, and it's hard to explain. How does a 19-year-old kid look down the barrel of a M50 or M60 machine gun and cut a person half in two? It's either him or you, And when you get home, when you get back here in the States, you don't sleep. And me, I sleep with a gun under my pillow. Right on now, I still got my gun under my pillow where I can get a hold of it. That's the way the military does. It teaches you how to kill, but it don't teach you how to go home and sleep at night, and not wake up in a cold sweat because you're scared, That was a long time ago, but I still have nightmares. And they got me at, 60% PTSD, post-traumatic stress. So, you don't forget stuff. I talk to a psychiatrist at least once a month. I go to McGuire Veterans Hospital. I talk to, my psychiatrist told me the more you talk about it and get it out of your system, the better you sleep at night. And that's basically, I get out here and talk to you about Vietnam in a heartbeat. That way I can go home tonight and go to sleep. Because I, relieve myself from the thoughts of it, the memories of it.
Mm-hmm. Are there any, before we close, are there any other memorable stories or experiences you'd like to share with me and the student body here?
Well, me and 3 other guys was in Taipei, Taiwan in Japan on leave. And I will never forget it. I had on a pair of them Beatle boots, from the Beatles song singing, and the old wide-legged pants. And I had on a light blue shirt. And we were walking down the street, and it was drizzling rain. And a car backfired. And there were 4 guys laying on the sidewalk with their hands over their head like that. And people walking by us like, what in the world? From a car backfiring. Sounds just like a mortar round going off. So first thing you do, hit the deck. You drop. Wow. And that one of the things I won't never forget, that going on leave and hear a car backfire and you hit the ground. Because you're still in Vietnam in your thoughts, even though you're on leave. So I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm still able to work. I'm retired. I'm still a proud American. So that's all I can say is I'm a proud American. And I represent, I feel for the MIAs and POWs that's still missing. I wear a star for them. And hoping they'll come home one of these days.